Hello and welcome back. I'm Gale Thompson and I have an easy peasy pivot pop-up card to make with Lawn Fawn products. This is what the outside of the card looks like, but when you open it, you get a big surprise. This card is great for using up scrapbooking pieces of paper. All I did was get one of those coloring book images off of Google and I made it different sizes. And then I just traced it onto the back of the scrapbook paper I wanted to use. And as you can see, it was really quick. Now I wanted to tell you that I'm going to do things a little differently. I'm going to pre-prepare all the pieces because my carpal tunnel is bothering me, so I just can't do everything all at once. But I'm preparing a card base, and now I'm going to use the Quilted backdrop die. And I made a frame out of it because I'm too cheap to waste all that center paper. It's going to be covered up anyway. And then I'm poking out all the little pieces with my tool-in-one. And then I'm just going over it here at the end, and it makes a little bit of a mess. But I love the effect. I think it's really dainty. And now I'm just going to build up the card and trying to avoid the circles there. I'm using my Lawn Fawn glue pen, which I'm finding that I like that pretty well. And I'm being really careful because I don't, even if it oozes through though, it dries matte and clear. So it's not a huge deal, but you know, I'm a little OCD. Then I open up my card base and I have a little bit of wiggle room when you use the liquid glue, which is why I used it there because I knew I was going to try to center things a little. And then I'm just putting a generous amount of glue in so that I can put my plaid piece there in the middle. And I'm just going to let you watch here for a second. I'm just gluing the hugs die. Every card doesn't have to be, you know, an Easter card. In spring, you can just say hugs and hello spring or, you know, anything else. So they don't have to be Easter cards. Now I'm going to take some glossy accents. This just happened to come in a Hero Arts kit tube. And I marked it because I knew that was what it was. And I'm just going to kind of give a little dimension to the hugs die there. And remember to let that dry. This time I managed to not run my hand through it, which for me is a feat. Now here's the pivot. It comes flat and you just are going to fold it away from you. And then you're going to take and twist it toward you. First one way and then the other. These are all going to be on the die. The lines will all be there for you. And then you squeeze it together and you make a funny little rocket shape thing. And you press that down and open it up. And the more you play with this, I'm going to do it again for you. The more you play with this, the easier it gets. And the more the paper will do what you want it to do. So you just fold it and then push in those sides and make your little arrow or rocket. Then I took my bone folder and kind of smoothed over it. And that's the main mechanism for the pivot. Now it's time to build the base that you're going to put your message or your decorations on. And all you're going to do is just slip these together and glue the back until it comes out looking like one piece. Next, we're going to decorate the front of the card. This is the Sprigs die from Lawn Fawn, and I'm just kind of bending it up to give it a little bit of dimension. And then in order to get the flowers so they're kind of sticking up, you just take a stylus and roll in the center of the flowers, and that'll bring the petals up a little bit. And now I'm just going to glue them onto the card using my glue tube. while we're watching. I hope you have good weather where you are. We're preparing for another snowstorm, hopefully the last one of the year. It was nice last weekend, but I spent it mostly making cards and listening to the March Madness. Every single one of my teams lost. The state of Ohio did not do well over the weekend. Now I'm just going to place the flowers. I go by the rule of threes, or actually to me it's the rule of unevens. So threes or whatever, but somehow it just, things look more balanced, flower arrangements and all that, when the numbers aren't perfectly even. I will just finish this up, and you're going to see that I brought out the Nouveau drops, but I wound up not using this color because it just wasn't dark enough. I used the Caribbean blue in the final picture, but here's the technique anyway. The technique, such as it is, I should say. The key with Nouveau drops is to not touch the paper with the nozzle. If you just leave a little space, it'll put out a little drop and then it'll form into a perfectly round little ball, unless I screw up like I did there. If you touch it, it just kind of turns into little Hershey's Kisses. Here I'm folding the pivot mechanisms, where you actually put your decoration, and I want to slow it up. You fold it back, and then you fold both the sides toward you, and it comes out looking like kind of a W. And I just wanted to make sure that you had a chance to take a good look at that. Now, I like to finish off all the sides of my paper, no matter what, if it's a die cut or whatever. You can see how much better it looks to just have that little finishing color on the side. So I just run a Distress ink, a little cube around, just to get the white off of there. And now we're going to find the center of my card, the fold line of my card base. I'm going to tape down just the pointy triangle part of the mechanism. And I use some score tape for this because it's very sturdy. Now I'm going to use the little peephole in the middle of the die cut to find my crease line of my card base, and then I know it's in the perfect place, and I just remove that tape cover and fold the card over on it, and I do the same for the back. And close it, and now the mechanism works. Pretty cool. Now I'm going to tape the edge of the flaps that'll hold that blue plaid piece down that we're going to decorate with our eggs. And now for the fun part, putting our eggs on our background there. I just glue them with the glue tube because that gives me a little wiggle room, and I always love a little out whenever I don't position something right. And I kind of strategically place them on either side of that center fold just because it's easier. I still am going to have to deal with folding the eggs on the outside of that, but at least the center one. That way the mechanism will have a shot at working. And now I'm going to make those folds and use my bone folder to get a nice sharp crease, which is going to pop up a little bit of my egg, and I'm going to have to glue that back down, but it's a minor problem. Yep. Just a little bit of glue from the glue tube and we're good to go. I just think it's great to just use up scrap paper. This whole card was designed, no stamping, for those of you that like to scrapbook but occasionally need to make a card. Now I took the Memory Box Happy Easter die cut and I built it up a little bit. And then I put some glossy accents on that as well. And I'm just going to place it here on my eggs. And that glue tube does a pretty good job. It's got a sharp enough nozzle that you can do small things. And I don't think it's going to clog like the needle nose ones that I've been using, although I'm still going to continue to use those too. And then we're going to let that dry for a few minutes. After I lay it on the sticky parts of my pivot pop-up mechanism. Now this takes a few times to get it to work. You have to play with it. Kelly Marie Alvarez says it takes about 10 times or so. You just have to keep willing the paper to do what you want it to do, and eventually it just pops up and does a great job. Isn't that fun? So I just keep opening and closing it and fiddling with it. But there's the card for today. Now, I also wanted to show you, I had these little Easter bags last year, but I only had a blog, I didn't have a video. But this is the waffle flower gift bag die, and I'm using Doodlebug papers there. And I'm going to link to the video that has the waffle flower bag. It's using Halloween dies, but it's still a really good video. And here's a bonus card I used with a lot of other Lawn Fawn pieces. This is the Somebody set from Lawn Fawn, and I colored them with Copic markers, but I'm no expert in that, so I spared you watching that. The frame is actually the Bayou backdrop die, flipped upside down and turned into a garden. The cloud backdrop is actually my favorite things stencil that I will show you how to use in my next video. As always, all the products will be listed below, and over at my blog I'll have picture links. Thank you so much for stopping by. I really appreciate your subscriptions, your comments, your likes, and I hope you'll come back and see me soon. Here are some more videos that I think you might be interested in. Have a great day. Bye-bye.